I hope I'm not throwing you off by the title. After all, my job is to sell houses. Well, in reality, what I do sell is my expertise and advice about real estate. And in this video, I'll be covering the top 3 obvious reasons why you should not buy a house in today's market. Hey guys, Gwen here with Intero Real Estate at Burlingame, helping you learn about our dynamic and fast-moving Bay Area real estate market. Let's get right into it. The old adage of real estate is a long-term investment still holds true. Which brings me to my number 1. If you're planning to own real estate for 1, maybe 2 years tops, it might not be a good idea for you to buy real estate today. Now, with all the uncertainty that's happening around the world, around the country, and here locally, the market could go down or it could go up. Now, in the short term, it may seem risky, but with the long-term horizon, that will definitely minimize the risk. It will soften the ups or the downs that you might experience. Now, with the 1 to 2 years in the market could easily go up and it could easily go down, where you might be forced to sell at a loss. So if you want options, you want to have a long-term outlook where it will create more options for you. So back in 2006, I purchased a property in Millbury, and if you can remember, that was actually just before the financial crisis that we all experienced in 2008. It was absolutely scary times back then. However, I always looked at the property as a long-term investment, and I always had plans to keep it in long-term. Now, if I'd actually sold the property within the first few years, I would have absolutely lost a shirt on my back. What I did was I held on, and then a few years later, the value actually started going up. And then, as you all know, the rest is history. So the lesson that I learned is real estate is great if you keep it in the long term. And if you have a long-term horizon, the value will always go up. The second reason why I think you should not buy a house is if you have a high debt-to-income ratio. Meaning, if you've got a lot of debt and you've got a high spending habit, you might want to hold off on buying a house until you cut your spending habit. Perhaps reduce some of your bills, pay off some debt, and take the time to stabilize your financial ecosystem. Now, you could always say that owning property is looked at as a forced saving. Obviously, it benefits people who have a hard time saving because it will force them to make payments on a property, which is great. But you have to keep in mind that owning a house comes with responsibilities. You need to fix things when they break, a broken toilet, a leaky faucet, or a broken furnace. All that costs money. So it won't be a good idea for you to be spending on a $200-300 bar tab or a $500 pair of shoes when you have a lot of debt and a new mortgage that you've got to pay for every month. So it's probably a good idea to hold off on buying a house and pay off your debt first, and then get your head above the water, and also at the same time get mentally fit, get into the right mental frame of mind of owning real estate, because it's a responsibility to own a home. Which brings me to my number 3. If you have very little to no job security, you probably want to hold off from buying a house, because buying a home is a long-term relationship. Now, did you know that an average first-time homeowner these days actually stays in their home from 7 to 10 years? Now, you don't want to get yourself in a situation where you're out of a job with very little to no savings and then having to face a foreclosure. Now, once you get a loan, you got to remember that clock keeps on ticking and ticking, and it'll tick constantly, and it's usually up to 30 years. So you want to be in an ideal situation where you have job security and or the ability to find another job immediately if you were to leave or if you were to get laid off. I remember when I first started working after college, I was an engineer at Oracle, and after a few years, I wanted to leave and go to a young startup company. I remember it was nerve-wracking because it was the instability of such a young company. I had a mortgage, I had bills, and I had responsibilities. So if you're thinking about moving to a different company or a smaller young startup company, just keep in mind of the job security and or the ability to find another job afterwards. In my particular case, I actually did eventually leave Oracle and I went to a young startup company, which eventually did lay me off because they closed down. However, we can save that for another video. If you guys are interested in hearing that story, go ahead and drop a comment below. I'd love to share it with you. So these are the top 3 reasons why you should not buy a house. Real estate, when viewed with a long-term outlook, will always give you options and possibilities. And if you have a high debt-to-income ratio, it doesn't matter how good of a deal you're getting or how perfect of a home may be, you might not be ready to own just yet. And if you don't have any job security, you might want to just wait until you build up more skills and experience. These are my opinion as to why you should not buy a home today. However, you may be a person that performs well when your back is up against the wall. So at the end of the day, you have to make a decision to see if buying is right for you. If you're thinking of making a move, give me a call, shoot me a text, or send me an email. We can come up with a game plan to help you win in this market. Until then, thank you for watching and check out this next video to help you with your decision.